It's now March of 2025, and I can honestly say any right-wing decent party could win quite easily on the next general election due to the fact that the way this country and this world is being run. The likes of Keir Starmer has got open borders, he's got spiked crime, he's got an economy that's crashing, he's penalising every company and any company that's in this country, making sure that businesses actually leave and don't come back. The likes of Nigel Farage should be a saviour, just like he sort of was when it comes to the Brexit situation. He should be there to make sure that he brings back decent policies again for our country, our British values back in this country, protecting the people of the country, which is the first rule for government.
Well, Job West is the former Reform UK chairman for South Derbyshire. He resigned from the party last month. Now, Job is with me now. Job, can you just remind people who may not know or may not remember why you resigned from Reform UK? What were your reasons?
I resigned from Reform because Nigel and Zia are not running the party properly.
You're referring to Zia Youssef, they're the chairman of Reform UK.
That's right, yes. The big problems I had was not personally with my own branch, but with the way in which Amber Valley, which is a constituency in the north of Derbyshire, was being treated by the management, which was appalling. It ended up with Alex Stevenson, the leader of Amber Valley, being suspended, and that led to mass resignation from all of the Amber Valley branch, which was, I still think, the best run Reform UK branch in Derbyshire, if not the East Midlands.
Okay, so you clearly weren't happy. Are you still a member of the party, or are you completely gone from Reform UK? No, I'm gone. Okay. What do you think of this, Roy? Because whilst your resignation, of course, made the headlines, this is a member of Parliament who is criticising Nigel Farage. Do you see perhaps some similarities?
I'll tell you what I see. I know for a fact that there are many activists, volunteers and branch officers within Reform UK who would dearly love to see Rupert Lowe as the leader of Reform.
It's very easy for people like me or even you to actually criticise Nigel Farage in a way that he's actually operating his party and how he's treating any members of his staff, underlings or whatever you want to call them. We don't know the full facts of exactly what's been going on, but we do know there are issues in the party, and the way that Nigel Farage is sort of going along those issues is making people leave. And good people, really good people.
UK MP Rupert Lowe. The party says it's received complaints from two women who worked in his offices. The MP says the claims are untrue and said there is zero credible evidence. Well, the party has released a statement saying evidence was provided to us of workplace bullying, the targeting of female staff who raised concerns, and evidence of derogatory and discriminatory remarks made about women, including reference to a perceived disability. We feel we have a duty of care to all our staff, whether employed directly or indirectly. Accordingly, we appointed an independent King's Counsel to conduct an investigation into the veracity of these complaints. To date, Mr Lowe has yet to cooperate with this investigation. Our political correspondent, Liz Bates, joins us now. And a short time ago, Liz, confirmation the police are aware of the allegations.
Yes, this is developing hour by hour, and we just have had confirmation from the Metropolitan Police. What they say is that on Thursday, the 6th of March, they received an allegation of verbal threats made by a 67-year-old man. The threats were made on Friday, the 13th of December. They say officers are carrying out an assessment of the allegations to determine what further action may be required. So, this is a complaint that has been made to the police just this week based on alleged threats made on the 13th of December. So this is part of the statement that was originally released by Reform and it is something that Rupert Lowe says is categorically untrue. He has released his own statement. He says, "I am disappointed but not surprised to read Reform's untrue and false allegations. Let me be abundantly clear. This investigation is based on zero credible evidence against me, as has been repeatedly stated by the neutral investigator. None has been provided. Allegations of physical threats are outrageous and entirely untrue. I have never made any derogatory comments about women or those with disabilities. This is a lie. These allegations are not even referring to me. I will be seeking legal advice immediately. It is no surprise that this vexatious statement has been issued the day after my reasonable and constructive questions of Nigel and the Reform structure. It was issued on X late on Friday afternoon with no prior warning." So he says this has all taken him by surprise. He has also taken to X again since he released that statement to point out that the complaint made to the police was on the 6th of March based on something that happened on the 13th of December. So he's questioning that timeline again. What he is suggesting has happened is that he publicly called out the Reform leader, Nigel Farage. He did an interview with the Daily Mail in which he called him messianic. He questioned his leadership of the party. He said he didn't know if he would make a good Prime Minister. That clearly angered Nigel Farage. He publicly hit back and said that he believed his following was a good thing and suggested that Rupert Lowe wanted to be the Prime Minister himself. So this has been a very bitter public row that has potentially, I think, been brewing since January, when Elon Musk from across the pond got involved in the leadership of Reform. He criticised Nigel Farage. He said he wasn't up to the job and suggested on X again that Rupert Lowe might be the person to replace him. So
go out of my way to support parties, but I've got a lot of time for Reform. Some of the members of Reform are my good friends. So I thought that they were on the path to glory. I thought that the project, or I think the project's very exciting, but this kind of infighting isn't going to do the party any good at all. I'm not quite sure what Rupert Lowe is up to, but to sit down with the Daily Mail and say that the leader, Nigel Farage, has got a messiah complex and that the trouble with Reform is they're just a protest group. I mean, that is to literally not literally, stop saying literally, Kevin. That is to take the rug from underneath.
Figuratively.
Yeah, figuratively.
Whether or not you want to believe Nigel Farage or Rupert Lowe, the fact is that Rupert Lowe decides to go on radio or TV and just basically slag off his leader. And then, near enough, straight after that, there's allegations of bullying and maybe sexual assault. So the question is, do you actually believe the likes of Nigel Farage or Rupert? And the fact is, I think it's all backstabbing. And this is not what we need in our party. This is not what we need to succeed in our country. But let's speak to Habib and see what he says.
What do you make to all of this, Ben?
Well, it's an accident that's been waiting to happen, Michelle. You followed it, really, I think, through the genesis of what you're now seeing today, when I had my first disagreements with Reform UK and Nigel over the way that the party is run. And Nigel put it down to me being bitter and twisted. It's got nothing to do with that. It's got everything to do with having a proper constitution and a structure within the party by which members, and senior members in particular, obviously, can have their views heard by the leader, and that the leader would give those views credence, take them seriously, debate them properly, and then come to a conclusion. Democratizing the party was a key component of Reform UK going from being an insurgency to being a party capable of government. And notwithstanding all the campaigns that I fought in order to achieve that, and Rupert has obviously been fighting internally in order to achieve it, Nigel hasn't done it. And notwithstanding all the protestations Nigel, Youssef and others make publicly about having given up ownership, the reality is that Nigel still controls Reform UK. It's only his word that goes. And if you have any dissent whatsoever, Reform cuts up like an adolescent teenager, a prickly teenager that hasn't got the confidence. I think James Snyder was mentioning this before I came on, hasn't got the confidence actually to deal with that criticism in a grown-up way.